This week on Flicker Effect, we've got reviews, or more reviews, for Fences and Passengers. We've also got reviews for Why Him and the new Netflix film Spectral. And as always, we'll finish things up with our One Cool Thing segment. There's lots to discuss, so let's get started. Hello and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect, episode number 199. We're recording this on Sunday, January 1st, 2017. I'm David Lotz. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yasha Wilson.
Hey, Happy New Year, everyone.
And Michelle Curry.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Woo!
Just a reminder that this podcast is available on iTunes, Google Play Music, and the iHeartRadio app. You can find us by simply searching for Flicker Effect. That's 2 words. Also, these episodes are available on YouTube. Just go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/Flicker Effect. Happy New Year, guys. It's New Year's Day. Whole new year. We survived 2016. We made it out alive. I'm very happy about that.
Hey, Betty White did too.
What?
Yay for Betty.
And Stan Lee, he made it out too.
And Stan made it. Man, we're winning already.
But how's everybody's New Year's Eve? Everybody good?
It was good.
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 It was good.
Everybody partied it up hard.
God, yes.
Yeah, I had a good night. I had a fun time. It was good stuff.
Why? What'd you do, Michelle? Oh, wait.
Well, David. Actually, for everybody, in case you're curious, David and his lovely wife and I went to a New Year's Eve party, and it was done by what's our local theater that what would you call that? Describe that as?
It's an art house theater.
An art house theater.
It's
yeah.
The Enzian here.
The Enzian.
It's in Maitland.
It's awesome.
In nearby Maitland.
They do an annual, for New Year's, they do a James Bond themed New Year's Eve party. So we figured this year we would go. And it's a lot of fun. It's a ticketed event. For the most part, I would say almost everybody there was completely dressed up. They were getting ready to walk into Casino Royale. It was awesome. And then there were some people that actually dressed up as characters, which was pretty spectacular, honestly.
I thought about that. Since I've got the beard, I was like, all right, what Bond villains have a beard? Maybe I could be... The only one that came to mind was, and if I think I'm getting the name right, was it Hugo Drax from Moonraker?
Moonraker?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a fairly simple kind of
Yeah.
fully buttoned down shirt. I was like, if I had thought about it way ahead of time, I probably could have made the shirt, but I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. So I'll just do a tux.
Yeah. You look quite dapper in that tux.
Oh, thank you.
You pulled it off well.
Thanks.
Yeah. I thought we fit in well. We had a good time. It was pretty cool though, because so since it's a theater, and they have this huge outdoor patio area, so the party was inside and outside because we live in Florida, so it was spectacularly awesome weather last night. But inside on the screen, what they had running all night long was, and they did it in chronological order of the films. They had all the opening sequences to each film just running on a loop all night long. So, and they had a DJ there, so it was like the DJ music, but you could watch all the opening sequences. It was pretty cool, actually. There was oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Oh yeah, there's that one too. And right. I love Bond films, but it was I was like, God, I haven't watched that one in forever. And just, I don't know, it was kind of fun to see them up on the big screen, because I've never seen, especially the old ones, the opening title sequences, up on a huge movie screen. So it was just kind of cool to see it. And I don't know, it was a really good time. I had fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good.
It sounds like a really cool premise, and especially since the venue really went all out, and it looks like the patrons and the guests really kind of followed suit with it and decided to really get into it, because your pictures, guys, look amazing.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. We try to look good.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go to that party for years. They've been doing it a while. Mm-hmm. And every year I'm like, man, I want to check that out, and never do it, because I just never do anything for New Year's. Almost never. But this was the one year I felt like, you know what? I really want to celebrate the end of this year. I'm glad it's over. So, you know what? This will be the year that we should finally pull this off and do it. It was cool.
No, I'm really glad we went. Yeah, there were ups and downs this year. And I will say, if I really were to sit here, I could probably list off that there were actually, if I really thought about it, there's probably more highs to this year than there were lows. But compared to other years, there were a lot of lows. There was a lot of not great this year for me. And so, yeah, I was very happy to kiss 2016 goodbye. And yeah, I haven't gone to a New Year's Eve party, like a party in a long time. So it was really fun. It was fun to dress up. It was fun to just let loose. You know, it was a ticketed event, so it was open bar, and they had hors d'oeuvres going all night long. Really good hors d'oeuvres too. Like, it was delicious. It was awesome. It was really just a lot of fun. They had party favors everywhere. I mean, you know, it was just made me feel like I was an adult. I was like, look at us, get out on New Year's, have a good time. What?
Doing adult stuff.
But yeah, that, you know, it was kind of fun. Was trying to do the Bond movies like in order, also while drinking. That was challenging, my friend.
Well, you guys did it true adult fashion. I mean, you were in tuxes and just gowns and just everything looked so fancy. I don't even know what I would wear if I were to try and dress up for this party, because I don't own a tux, and it's not like I can just go and get off the rack. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll dress in a turtleneck and maybe some slacks and go as Jaws. That works, yeah.
Ooh, that would have been cool. Yeah, I will say the people that did dress up, like that dress as a character, there was some good ones. I mean, they weren't just like, oh, we're just gonna slap it together. Like the one girl was that Russia,
the Soviet.
For Moonraker, right?
Sadly, I don't remember which one that was from.
But
it was like the snow kind of Soviet outfit she had on, like a furry
the white one. Yeah, she looked amazing.
Yeah,
I was
she
like,
looked awesome.
Dang, you go, girl.
I actually expected more kind of Bond cosplay there than there was. It wasn't a lot, but what was there was good.
Yeah.
But most people were just like us, just kind of dressed up for a kind of a formal New Year's Eve party.
But I mean, if you think about it, there's all the formal scenes in all the James Bond films. There's always a casino. There's almost always a casino film or scene. Yeah. And so, you know, like, it's easy to just put on a pretty cocktail dress and a tuxedo, and it's like, yep, I'm ready for a Bond party.
I mean, yeah, because I don't own a tux, so I rented mine, and then I go to pick out a tux, and, you know, I'm having to choose between all these styles, and then I'm like, well, wait a second. I just start Googling James Bond tux photos just to see what kind of tuxes he would wear, and I'm like, all right, I'll go with that one then, I guess.
Yeah.
Trying to kind of fit a theme.
Yeah, but it was cool. I liked it. I liked the James Bond theme. Like, I thought it was really fun. It was cool. I don't know. It was just different.
I could definitely see doing it again next year. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And it's always James Bond theme?
Yeah, I think it's been that way every year. It's always James Bond there for the New Year's thing.
Yeah, it was fun.
So, I guess some movies.
Maybe.
Wait, what's that?
Oh, I was going to say, maybe me and Yasha should try and go to next year's.
Yeah, man.
That'd be awesome. That would be so awesome if you guys came down here for New Year's.
That'd be cool.
Oh my God, that would be so epic. Oh, this needs to happen.
Because actually,
I like this.
The reason I was already thinking about going next year, because I believe, and we could try to hold him to it, but Carlton says he wants to go next year.
My God, my head is exploding right now. If we could get everybody to go to this. Yeah. We would have so much fun.
That'd be awesome.
We'd have to go earlier, too. Like, we got there pretty much when it started.
And if I could convince Aaron to fly out, because Aaron's a big Bond fan.
Oh, my God.
So I could definitely see convincing him to come out for it. I know. Your mind's blown right now, right?
My brains are scattered across the room now. Dude, that would be fun.
Yeah. So we got a year to figure that one out.
Yeah, we got time. Yeah. We got time.
Or reserve a table then. If we pull that off.
If we pull that off, we're reserving a table. That's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, the champagne will floweth from the heavens.
But, yeah. So, movies. Who saw something new? I know I didn't. I'll start off by saying, I didn't see a new movie this week. I have slowly started my binging of films pre-Top 10 show, just like I did last year. I forget how many films I watched last year, the week before. I watched a lot.
You watched a lot last year.
Yeah.
It was impressive, actually, at one point.
I've actually got a list here on my phone. I'll look real quick. I have a list of all the films I'm going to attempt to watch this week. Let's see how many I've got here.
Good gracious, man.
I've got 8 movies on my list. So I could watch. I've got the next couple days off. I could pull this off. And still have next weekend right before. I could do this. So, yeah, But I saw one film that I never saw. I forget. It came out early in the year, didn't it? This is The Nice Guys.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got a chance to see it. It was a movie I wanted to see. Just, I don't know. It's one of those movies that fell through the cracks and never made it out to. And as soon as I missed it opening weekend, it was like, well, I'll see it on video. And so, yeah, I saw that this week. And, I mean, not much to say. It's a movie we've, it's been out for a while, but it was good. Shane Black directed it. His movies for me have not been hits for me. Like, the only two films I think of are Iron Man 3, which I'm not a fan of. And what was it, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
Yeah.
And I've only ever seen that movie once, and I've always said I will rewatch it. But when I watched it, I was not impressed at all. I did not like it.
No.
Which my friend that I watched it with, she was shocked. She was fully expecting me to like love it. And I think to this day, she's still like, seriously, I can't believe you don't like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And I'm like, I don't know. It's something about it. It didn't do it for me. But
I'm there with you, man. I remember watching it just once, and I was like, not really entertained by this. It's actually kind of bad.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it when I saw it.
It's funny because that was kind of the Robert Downey Jr. comeback film. Like initially, right before Iron Man, right before Iron Man, like that was kind of the Robert Downey Jr. He's back,
right?
Right. Drugs are gone, alcohol's gone, yeah, and yeah, I mean, it got some good reviews when it came out. I remember it's pretty solid. But anyways,
Nice Guys. I mean, not much to say. I enjoyed it. I've been seeing it pop up a lot on some lists, like most like underappreciated films of 2016 lists. I've been seeing it on there a lot, and I don't think I've seen it on like on a top 10 list, but it's gotten a lot of praise. And this is one of those films too. You look at Rotten Tomatoes; it's got a really high Rotten Tomatoes rating. I'll look it up as I'm talking about it, but
I think because overall, like it's just kind of a fun film. It's just you know. Ryan Gosling is having fun with, the comedic parts of everything.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's different.
It was just, to me, one of those movies where it felt like a throwback to 90s action movies, but in a way that it was still kind of fresh and doing its own thing. And it just had this really kind of breakout performance to me of Ryan Gosling in a way that I had never seen him before. There's just different comedic timing of some of the dialogue and some of the action that was going on that was really well done. And in a day when people constantly are saying there's too many remakes and too many sequels, it seemed like a breath of fresh air for a movie to come out that was solely of its own making and something that they had kind of intended and wanted it to be maybe a series, but based on the box office, it doesn't look like it'll happen. But I thought it was a nice, fun movie to actually be able to experience in the theaters.
Right. So, yeah, I liked it. I was a fan. I would definitely not say it's going to show up in my top 10 by any means. But I don't know. I think part of me had like maybe higher expectations going into it. So when the movie was all said and done, I was kind of like, I mean, it was good, but I wasn't like kind of blown away by it or anything. But yeah, it's an entertaining movie. Ryan Gosling, like you just said, is really great in it. I think this is a role for Ryan Gosling that he excels in. Because Ryan Gosling is also kind of a hit or miss for me. There's films I've seen him in that I think he's really great, and then other movies where I'm like, I don't know what to make of him.
He is.
But this movie, he's really good.
No, he's good.
And I mean, Russell Crowe's fine. He's good in it. Nothing.
He's Russell Crowe.
Yeah, he's Russell Crowe. But yeah, I liked it. I was glad.
It's fun, and yeah, like Bobby was saying, like it was one of those. I remember watching and going, I could watch a second one of these with him.
Yeah.
Like if they could and they left it open to do a sequel. And I said this in my review. I think I was just like, yeah, I would totally see another film with them. Based on this premise. Like I'm down with it. But like Bobby just said, it's probably not going to happen. But anyway, yeah,
I could totally see them doing like a HBO series in the style of like a, not necessarily True Detective, but something of a short form series, like maybe 5-6 episodes of some case that they're trying to solve. And
yeah, I could
that
see
could be cool too.
That would be
I
cool.
like it. Yeah, I think it's just cool because it's kind of throwback LA.
Yeah.
It's
fun.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the one movie I saw this week. Like I said, I'll be binging like hell over the next week. So I got a lot of movies to watch. But anyway, let's talk about some newer movies. Yasha, you saw Why Him this week.
Yeah, and I'm still wondering why I did.
Oh, right out the gate.
God.
Boom.
I mean, just mother of all that is holy. It was just like, I started to doze off, which is rare for me in a film. And at one point, I'm just like sitting here and I'm just like, why did I decide to do this? I knew what this was, what it was when I was coming into this movie. I knew what I was going into. And I like James Franco. I like Cedric the Entertainer. I like Bryan Cranston. I like Megan Mullally, if that's how you pronounce her last name. I'm sorry if I'm not. And you watch it, Mullally, sorry. And you just watch it, and it's everything that you would possibly expect. You get it exactly in the trailer. Exactly what you see in the trailer is what you get in the movie. Foul language. There were some parts that was a little funny. That was kind of like, oh, this is kind of funny. You know, you laugh at here and there. But it was epically corny, remarkably predictable. I mean, it was just another version of Guess Who? I'm sorry, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is another version of the one with Bernie Mac.
With Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, it was Guess Who. Excuse me. Yeah, it was Guess Who, and then there was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and then I think there was even another one done with George Lopez. But it was both the families that was involved in it. And it was, I mean, you know it's going to happen. He comes in, they don't like each other, and then he wins them over, and it's warm and fuzzy feeling. It's like, oh, wow, you know, look at, they're so getting together, and they're all liking each other again. Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah, God, I was just going to say spoilers, Yasha. Jeez.
You know what? If you go and see this movie in the theater, then yeah, you definitely deserve to have it spoiled.
All right.
I'm sorry. I mean, it was just that was like, come on, man. Like, you can't possibly tell me that you're going in there with some twist like, you know, oh my God, I can't believe that, you know, they did X, Y, and Z. No, you know exactly what you're getting when you go into this movie. You know exactly what you're expecting. You know what's going to happen. And yeah, it plays out that way. Like as if you were counting 1, 2, 3. Right. 1, 2, 3, boom, movie's done. And it did not disappoint in that retrospect because I knew exactly where we were going and what we were going to see. There were a few surprising moments, or one really big surprising moment that I won't ruin if you by chance still want to go see this movie. Don't know why I'm not giving it the greatest of reviews, but hey, to each his own. And if
let me guess, Seth Rogen pops up.
No, actually, that's not accurate. That's not accurate.
No, I was just kidding because you know it's like that's their kind of thing nowadays. Where
right, yeah.
I mean, maybe he popped up. I didn't notice. Maybe I wasn't paying as close attention to the movie as I probably should have. But no.
So Netflix or not at all?
You might just wait till it shows up on basic cable and have everything, all the bad language edited out of the movie. Or maybe Netflix. I don't know. But it's a shame because like I said, I love all the actors that are in the movie. I will support what they do because I'm a fan. But when I watched this, I just was like, oh God damn it, what am I doing here? I could be doing so many other things. I could watch Rogue One over again,
right?
Instead of sitting in here and watching this bullshit. So,
sorry, buddy.
Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, you lost us 2 hours.
Oh yeah, but that being said, on a happier note, I'm just about done with the first season of iZombie. So.
Oh, Yasha, you just made me so happy.
I thought I told you that I'd started this, and you know, I mean, we haven't really got a chance to talk about it. I'm so into this show. Like, it's such a guilty pleasure of mine. Like,
totally
my girlfriend would be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Watching iZombie." She's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Look, I don't need your judgment, okay? I'm watching iZombie right now, and just go back to my show."
Right.
It's so fun. It's such a guilty pleasure, and I'm really into the show. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on season 2.
Oh,
I'm just about finished with season 1. I got 10 minutes left of the last episode, but it's there. And
Oh
it's
my gosh, and those 10 minutes are really good too. So yeah, it's like it really is the best like guilty pleasure. I don't know why I love that show so much, but I think it's just because I can kind of, it's just fun and it's a silly premise and you can just kind of forget your shit day at work or your car breaking down and you're like, just F the day. I'm watching a zombie episode. I need to forget all the crappy things that happened to me today and just be lost in something completely ridiculous. And it's fabulous. It's so much fun. It's such a fun show. Yeah. I'm really so happy you're watching this show. This makes my day.
Yeah, well, I was looking for something to download because Netflix started the whole download thing with their stuff. So I started, playing with it. I was like, oh, Michelle watches this iZombie bullshit. I'll give it a shot.
Thanks.
That's literally what I thought in the back of my head. I was like, Michelle watches this iZombie
and now
bullshit.
You're hooked.
I'll give this a shot. I'll download for 3 episodes on my phone, and I want to see how this whole download to, watch thing that Netflix just started really works out. I watched the first episode. I was like, haha. This is funny.
Yeah.
That's corny. Oh, she's eating brains. Dude, I want to watch more.
Yeah.
And I was totally
brains with hot sauce.
Oh, yeah. And with hot sauce. And it's just like, it's so funny. And the more that they have the character developing for her and some of the other characters, the more into it I am. And I'm just like, this is fantastic. I think this is so silly. And you're right. It's just an easy show to get lost in. And I'm enjoying every bit of it. Every little bit of it.
Yeah, no, I recommend it for people who are just looking for something, like I said, just kind of fun to kind of forget your day. And I will say, like, they're some of the best people to follow on Instagram. Like, they're fun. This cast, these people they're a lot of fun. Like Rahul, I can never say his last name. I think it's Chloe. The one who plays Ravi, her boss, technically her boss, right? He has the best Instagram feed I've ever seen in so long. Like, he's hilariously funny. And then Rose McIver, who plays the main character, she's got a really great. She's constantly doing stuff, but they're constantly doing photos of them on set and goofing around. And so it's like, I feel like in this intermittent time, I've been watching them shoot this season that's coming up, and it's been fun to follow them because they love their freaking job, dude. You could tell they love it. And yeah, I think Rob Thomas has another cult hit series on his hands. Like what was the other one? The one that Veronica Mars. It's not a lot of people watch. Like, it was kind of a small niche group that watched that one, and I think it's kind of the same thing with this. But I think this one's really starting to catch on. But he just has fun shows. Like, it's all pure fun and enjoyment. So yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. Anyways, what else is happening in the world?
It's so silly and it's so funny and it's so quirky, but the writing is actually really good and it really carries nicely from episode to episode. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like it so much, because it really does a good job of being predictable, but not too predictable, I guess is the way to say it. Like, it's just kind of like, wow, this is fun. I like this. Yeah. I dig it a lot. So I'm stoked to see. I'm bummed that, season 3 isn't on Netflix yet, but I can probably watch it on Amazon Prime. So I'm going to start season 2 here in a little bit, and I'm going to get into, I'm digging it, man. So you got me. I can't wait to talk more about it with you, Michelle.
Yeah, I would definitely say I would suggest it for people who don't like their comic book shows with people in tights and superpowers per se. I guess hers is a superpower of a sort, but more grounded, if you could say that about a show where a girl eats brains. But yeah, it's definitely a different type of comic book show, and they usually go to Comic-Con, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe next year you guys might want to check out a panel at Comic-Con for the iZombie.
I did much better than a panel this year at Comic-Con with the cast of iZombie.
Well, tell.
You were there.
Michelle, it's for the audience, not me.
I know, but I think I already relived it in that episode. But basically, yeah, they were on the IMDb. No, they were on the CW boat. And I was able to get on their way in, like half of the cast I was able to say hi to on their way in, and then the other half I got to say goodbye to on their way out. And I had a lot of fun. I was like, chatting them up. I was like, look at me. I'm chatting with movie TV stars. It was a lot of fun. I was very happy. It made my week.
You were very happy. I remember it well. You were geeking out pretty hardcore.
It's a show that I really enjoy, and like I said, they just seem like they're a fun cast. Like you could tell, like they enjoy what they're doing, and they're having a lot of fun doing it, and it's just silliness. And so, yeah, I was geeking out because I was like within arm's reach of these people that I enjoy watching, and so yeah, it was. Oh yeah, no, yeah, I zombies. I'm down with it.
Well, very cool. Well, Michelle, you made it to a movie theater this week.
Oh, you're going to me now?
Oh, yeah.
I've been talking so much.
I know. We want to hear more.
Oh, God, I need to shut up.
Bobby, I believe you reviewed Fences last week, and now Michelle, you have seen it. Curious to know what you thought.
I have to say, my thoughts on it are pretty similar to Bobby's. I did enjoy it. I liked it a lot. As far as like, I feel Denzel put out a good picture. This is okay. So it's from the play, the Broadway play that was out, and so as you're watching it, it runs like you're watching a Broadway play. Like there's the set pieces, because they're not going a lot of places. Set pieces are pretty basic. It's mostly the backyard of their house or inside of their house, and even that's confined to really like 2-3 rooms maybe at most. And it's just it's very dialogue heavy because it's a play. It's conversations for the most part just between 2, maybe 3 characters at a time, and so. And obviously Denzel's character is the center of that. And so he's definitely speaking the most. And yeah, Denzel's brilliant in it. And like, I don't know, it's interesting because I feel like at some point in your life, you're going to kind of know somebody that's like this guy. You're either related to him or he's like a distant relation, or you are really good friends with a friend and you're really involved in their family and you find their family has a person like this, and like a person like this at some point in your life. Maybe not yet, but to watch this man go through life, it's such a basic story, I think, for humans, and for me, maybe Americans, I should say. People are just getting up and going to work and putting dinner on the table and doing the best they can to provide for their family and do right by them. And sometimes you can get lost in that. And so there's a lot of times you can identify with him because you're like, I get it. Like, I get that. But at the same time, like, he's definitely hardened by the world for certain. And even though, I don't know, it's kind of like one of those things, like you relate to him, but you're like, God, I hope I never get so hardened by the world to live in this mindset or to be like this. But Denzel's fabulous. Viola Davis is just, God, that woman she really can do no wrong in my book. And this film proves that for certain. I definitely see nominations for the 2 of them. I could see, because Denzel directed this, right? Yeah. I could see him getting a nomination for directing. I can't see him winning it, but I could see him getting a nomination for directing. I can't see this being like a Best Picture nom, but they're going to do well come award season, I think. And I don't know. I think everybody should go see this film. I really do. It's a really good story. I will say though, my one disappointment with it is I feel like the end of the film fell a little flat. Now, I've never seen the play, and I have no idea how this compares. The movie plays out compared to the way the play plays out. I'm assuming it's basically almost verbatim, I would assume. So I'm hoping the play doesn't kind of like fall so. But yeah, right, like the last few minutes of the film just kind of, like I just feel like the movie's just on such a rise this whole time, and it's just kind of building and building and building, and then it just kind of wham at the end. That was kind of my one complaint. But at the same time, I'm saying this, there's really no other way to kind of wrap up the story at the same time. So I don't know, but I definitely think everybody should go see this. It doesn't matter, where I guess you are in society. If you live in a McMansion or if you live in, a single wide, it's a film that I think people should see to see the story, because I think it's just something that can touch you in a way, and you're going to relate to someone or something about this film in such a way that it's moving in, I don't know, thought provoking, and yeah, it's good. It's a good story. It's a solid story all the way through.
Very cool. Yeah, if I have this list correct, it looks like, at least for Golden Globes, it was just got acting nominations.
Yeah.
For Denzel and for Viola Davis.
They deserve it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens come Oscar time.
Very cool. Moving on to you, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
You've been busy this week.
God, Bobby.
A little bit.
You were taking advantage of this holiday time frame, weren't you?
I do what I can do when I can do it.
I wanted to start off by asking you about Passengers, something that Michelle reviewed last week, and now you've seen
us.
it.
We're so
you guys
cute.
Swapping around movies.
Look at us.
Right?
So, yeah, what'd you think of that one?
Yeah, so it's interesting because obviously there was a little bit of controversy surrounding the film in terms of what the message of what this movie was supposed to be about based on the way it was marketed. And I hadn't been aware of exactly what that thing was because I kind of avoided it because I knew I wanted to see the film. And when I see it, it kind of makes no sense to me why they didn't market it in the way that it actually is, because there's a compelling movie within that premise of what it actually turns out to be. And obviously I still kind of have to dance around it because I don't want it to be spoiled in case someone would consider it a spoiler. But I think there's definitely some moral dilemma and gray area in there that could have been explored a little bit more. For the film itself, for what I actually saw, not knowing what the controversy was until I saw it, I actually ended up thinking it was a decent movie. I thought the performances by Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence were solid for the film. I mean, they weren't asked to do anything specific in terms of getting an Oscar or trying to elevate these characters to a certain level. They were playing the characters that I think fit for this tone of this movie and what they were going for. There is a somewhat of a love story at the center of it between these characters. Obviously, if you can see that in the trailer because of what they're going through. And it kind of, I think the reason why I did like it is it turned out to be, putting aside the whatever that sort of controversial aspect of it was, the movie ended up being what I imagined it would be in my head. And it played in terms of making check marks off the box of what I thought was going to be, and not in a sense of, oh, okay, I can predict this is going to happen, though you kind of can, but it did it in a way that I felt was satisfying. And so I ended up liking it for what I thought it was going to be, and it didn't surprise me into being anything more, although I feel like you could have added some more elements of what that controversial aspect was and made it even more of a compelling story. But for what it was entertaining. And I think that that's all I kind of was looking for from it. Nothing specific or nothing spectacular in any grand fashion. I just wanted something that was entertaining, and I thought it was that.
Yeah, like I said last week, I agree. It's just a good, entertaining film to kind of, at the end of the day, you just want to kind of forget about stuff and just see something where you don't have to get too thought-provoking or cerebral into it. It's just kind of, it is what it is.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, what else have you been watching?
Oh, Bobby.
What was that for, Michelle? Is there something specific that you...
No, this list, I'm like, man, Bobby's killing it this week.
Well, me and David were talking, and he had asked me a couple days ago, what other Star Wars novels would I suggest that he listen to? And I gave him a few recommendations, and one of the ones that was on that list was Star Wars Lost Stars. And this one is written by Claudia Gray. this was actually her first book that she wrote in the Star Wars new canon novels, and she has a second one out that is actually doing well. That's called Bloodline, that centers around Princess Leia, or I should say General Organa, in that sense. And this one is more. It's considered young adult, but I would say it's young adult in the same vein as like a Hunger Games, and more so than a tweeny kind of movie. It's not like a Twilight kind of thing. It's more of an older young adult novel. But the basic premise of it is that you have these two characters. One is on this home world that is just been taken over by the Empire, and they're young kids when we meet them. One's a boy. His name is Thane, and the female character is Sienna. And they grew up just essentially in love with what the Empire has, not necessarily from their standpoint of how they are as a ruling entity, but just like they love the tech, the toys, the ships. They both want to be pilots. So they grew up, and you kind of, the book covers different phases of their life from when they're kids to when they're teenagers, and they get into the Imperial Army and Imperial Academy and become cadets, and you see them evolving into being fighter pilots. Well, one of the characters, Thane, he starts to see what the Empire is truly about and ends up being disillusioned by it and joining the rebels. Whereas the female protagonist is still on board with the Empire because she doesn't believe that the Empire is bad. She thinks they're doing a good thing for the universe, for the galaxy. And so it's their story of how they've been friends since the start and have now sort of splintered based on their beliefs. And it's pretty good. I haven't gone all the way through it. In fact, I've only listened to about 3 hours of the audiobook, and I'm really enjoying it. It doesn't play like a young adult novel in a traditional sense. There's elements there because obviously there's a boy and there's a girl and there's things, that connect them. But story-wise, it just feels, again, like something Star Wars, and it feels like it's filling a gap in terms of what you know, and also expanding that universe a little bit more in a way that it hasn't before, seeing different worlds and seeing like the class systems of different worlds and how they relate and how the Empire comes in. And really what this has done, even in just a few hours that I've listened to it, has given me a completely different perspective on the Empire, even when I go back and think of how they were in the original trilogy. And everybody knows the line when you see the stormtrooper and he's like, "You rebel scum," and you're like, well, why is he, why are they calling them out for doing what's good? And you kind of get a sense of it from this when you really see that the Empire, I kind of liken them to being like North Korea, where the people who live in North Korea probably don't really know what North Korea is up to. And so they're just kind of blinded by the fact that, by propaganda, essentially. And so Empire has got such good spin and propaganda going on that a lot of people think that when they're joining the Empire that they're doing good and they're helping the galaxy become more unified. Because probably only a lot of people at the top level really know what the Empire is up to. And everybody else is just kind of foot soldiers or thinking they're joining an organization that's good. Now, obviously, there's bad people, like there would be bad cops, and then they kind of do, things that you wouldn't think you should be doing. But a lot of them are probably just duped into thinking that they're doing something good, and they're not really knowing exactly what they're doing. And so this seems to kind of tell that story in a way where you're seeing that from their perspective, because you even get a sense of when they're watching the news or something, how they talk about these, kind of essentially calling them terrorists when they talk about the rebels and how they're trying to disrupt the order and how they're trying to basically start this kind of war when they're trying to do good as the Empire is trying to quote unquote do good. So it's really interesting, and I'm really into it. And again, it's another canon book that basically means that it exists within the confines of what we have and what we know of this new Star Wars universe going forward. So it fits into continuity, and it's really good. I would suggest anybody who's looking for a audiobook for Star Wars to check it out.
It was marketed as one of those like Force Awakens tie-ins, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Something like Road to Force Awakens or something. I forget how they
Journey
called it.
to Star Wars. Yeah,
Right.
Force Awakens.
Cool. What else have you been up to this week?
I did get a chance to watch a TV series that I had been told had been pretty good, and I had never had a chance to watch it. It comes on Sci-Fi Channel, and season 2 starts on January 25th, and the show I'm talking about is called The Magicians. And what this show is, it's kind of like, I hesitate to call it this, but it's the best way I can give people a mental image of it. But it's kind of like Harry Potter for adults in a sense, because there's sex, there's drugs, there's, all kinds of just mayhem going on in this show. And the reason why I kind of consider it Harry Potter-ish is because it's about this secret academy that these students join, and they realize that magic is real. And essentially there's a larger threat against them, sort of a Voldemort kind of character that they have to defeat. And it's really an interesting show. It's I think it was only 13 episodes, and like I said, it's only on. They're going on to their second season starting this month. And I got into it. It took me, honestly, it was weird because it took me a little while to get into the characters, because most of them aren't really likable. They're kind of like, a little rough around the edges, and their motives are real shady. So it's hard to gravitate towards any one particular character in the beginning. But eventually they kind of all coalesce, and you get a sense of these characters and what they're trying to go for. But the concept in and of itself that I pulled into pretty quickly with the magic and how they use magic and how it's done and how it's performed and how people have different, I guess, areas of expertise and different aspects of how their magic works. So I really liked it, and I would suggest it as another show if you want to pick up that comes on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Very cool.
And moving on, I had a chance to watch a documentary last week that came on Netflix. I didn't know that this was on there. I was just surfing through Netflix, and sometimes things pop up in there and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, let me see what this is about. And this one I ran across just that way. Are you guys familiar with the group Clips?
No, I'm not.
What now? What?
It's
the
a
group
called
Clips. No.
Yeah. So it's this duo of these two brothers, and one is called Malice and the other one's called Pusher T. And they were produced by Neptunes, and I'm sure you've heard their music if you were to Google their name, because their songs were like all over the radio, and there's no way you could have not heard them, in a sense. But this tells a story of Malice, and it's from his own words of how he essentially had to leave the group because they were doing this, what's called trap rap, which is them talking about drugs and how they get their money kind of thing. And he finds Christ in his life at some point, and he can no longer be able to do that kind of rap anymore. And they went basically from being this super huge group to him just eventually one day saying, I can't do it anymore. And he kind of just goes through and tells you why he gave up the rap game in that sense, and talking about the negativity and the drugs and alcohol and all that stuff. And it was just kind of an interesting and very moving story of this man's struggle to try and do the right thing, and how he feels about the music that he made. And it was pretty cool.
It's cool.
And it's called No Malice.
Nice.
End of Malice. And finally, is it finally? Yeah, finally.
Yes.
There was a movie we talked about not too long ago that had a trailer for it, and it was a Netflix original film called Spectral. And if you can kind of remember, the trailer had these like a special ops team, and they were battling looks like spirits or supernatural type beings. And dang, I gotta say, I actually enjoyed this movie. I was surprised that I enjoyed it because it's it so sounds like it would be cheesy and would be something you would watch like on Sci-Fi Channel, one of their type of made for TV movies that kind of comes off way corny. But this isn't played that way, and it's better than something you would see on Sci-Fi, and not quite necessarily something that would be in a theater level. I'd say if you added about another 10 million and had a couple more set pieces for action, then you could probably see it being in the theater. But for what it is, it's actually a pretty decent film, and the acting is solid. I mean, there's not anything that's cringeworthy in it. The special effects are good for what they're doing with it, and the action is solid as well. It's kind of like almost if you put in an Aliens feel to it, but with these kind of ghost type things. And that's kind of essentially the action beats of it. You know, it's getting stranded and having to deal with the situation and figure out how to defeat these things. And it's pretty good. I mean, I would say the only actor you might really recognize in this is Bruce Greenwood, who's been in a lot of different things, and he's a character actor. And I'm trying to remember what the last movie that I saw him in was. The only thing that I can really remember him that he was in recently was Star Trek, the remake of it with Chris Pine.
Right,
and he played Captain Pike. Yeah. Or was he captain at that time? I can't remember. But
yeah, it was Captain Pike.
Yeah, he played Captain Pike. And so he's in there as like the general, I think. And it's just a solid film. I honestly say, like, if you got Netflix and you're just looking for something to throw on, it's entertaining. Give it a shot, because I did find it pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch it. I mean, like we said before, it kind of, you know, from first look, it looked like some kind of, you know, based on a video game, maybe direct to DVD kind of release. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? It kind of looks like it could be entertaining. So at some point, I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that does it for what we've been watching this week. A couple trailers I wanted to ask you guys about. Anybody watch the trailer for the new miniseries Taboo?
I did.
I guess this is coming out on FX and BBC One in the UK. A lot of times shows like this, it seem like they come to BBC first. It's usually like a good gap of time before
I feel like
we get them
6
here
months.
in the
Like
US.
half a year goes by. It's like with Sherlock usually in Downton Abbey. It's like a whole half a freaking year goes by and we finally get it in the States. I'm like, Jesus,
Yeah,
really?
but this is like a 3-day difference. I think it goes to the UK in January 7th, and it comes here January 10th.
That's awesome. Like, that's really awesome, honestly.
I'm still trying to figure out what it's about necessarily.
Yeah, I kind of had to look up like a couple synopsis, because I was like, I mean, it looks good. I'll say right off the bat, the trailer, I'm definitely intrigued. But I was also kind of like, I'm not sure exactly what it's about. I don't know how I would describe this other than that. It looks like I would watch. This is a show I would check out. Yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, the one brief synopsis I found is the 8-episode miniseries is about an adventurer who returns to Britain from Africa, along with 14 stolen diamonds, to seek vengeance after the death of his father. That's all I got.
It looks like it was the East Indian Trading Company.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
There was definitely some symbolism happening there. I was like, oh, that's East Indian Trading Company. So, it looks kind of brutal in some stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the quick that you're getting in that little trailer. I was like, whoa, it looks intense.
Yeah, no, it looks intense. It looks good intense.
And there's a ton of people in it too.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it was like a new shot and the trailer would pop up and I'm like, oh my God, whoa, look at that. Hey, that's look at that. Like it looks cool. Like I'm down with this one. I'm looking forward to this actually.
Cool. I'm hoping to check that one out. Like I said, it's coming to FX on January 10th, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I think that's the date I saw. And then, if you're listening from the UK, I believe it'll be on BBC One on January 7th. Also, there was a teaser trailer. Michelle, you were kind of interested in The Lost City of Z.
Yeah, it's funny because like, so I saw this trailer like pop up and I saw the title of it. I'm like, God, that sounds so familiar to me. So if anybody knows me, my background is in anthropology. I'm like, Lost City of Z. I'm like, I feel like I've read this book. And so anyways, so it's based off of this book that came out in 2009. But the book is actually nonfiction. And it's based off of a true story of Percy Fawcett, who in 1925 disappeared with his son in the Amazon while looking for this ancient lost city. It's called the Lost City of Z. So for me, in my head, what I was thinking, I was like, oh, have I read this book? I'm like, I've read this book. And it's not that I've read the book. It's just that I know this story from my studies. And it's a pretty well-known story. And anyways, so what happened is so this father-son team went out into the Amazon to look for this lost city and were believed to be captured by a tribe of peoples in the Amazon. And it's a really old tribe and there's only so many people left in it. It's like the Kuki-Hugu. I can't even think of, like, the name is weird and I'm trying to remember it all. But so the tribe used to be like a pretty big civilization in the Amazon, kind of, I mean, I can't say quite Inca or Aztec-y, but they built their cities instead of going like vertically, they went horizontally. And anyways, so they went out to go look for, anyways, so anybody who goes, so for some reason in the anthropological world, people are curious to find out what happened to this father-son team. So over the last, almost 100 years now, people have gone to the Amazon to go find them. And anybody who's purposely gone to go find out what happened has either gone missing or has turned up dead. Well, I guess this guy wrote this book about this kind of idea and this whole situation and wrote a book about it, and they're making a film about it. And it looks interesting to me. I don't think this is going to play well on large scale, but again, this was a teaser trailer that came out. So, I'm interested in it because I studied, tribes and peoples that don't realize the rest of the world as we know it exists, really. So, I'm curious. Who's in it? God, what was his name? Spider-Man's in it, right?
I was in it. Charlie Hunnam's in it?
Yeah, I thought it was Charlie.
Oh, it's Charlie Hunnam. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry. So, but yeah, I'm curious to see it. They don't give you much in the teaser trailer. It's pretty quick. Basically, you just see people running around in the Amazon and tribesmen looks like trying to kill them. So it doesn't give you a lot. But like for me, like I'm excited because I'm like, this is something I kind of know and my background kind of knows of. And I've never read the book, so I have no idea if this is like the book that was written in 2009. I have no idea or knowledge to that. But I mean, I'm curious to see it because I'm curious to see kind of this spin on this kind of story that's kind of gone on. It's always kind of like, it's like a legend in a way, like in the archaeological world, kind of like, don't go out and get killed. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things. I don't know. He was basically an archaeologist, anthropologist before it was a very, very largely known circle. So he was kind of like an adventurer. So I don't think the film
Jones style.
Yeah, kind of. Well, more rustic than that. But I don't think the film is revolving around Percy Fawcett and his son. I think it's revolving around other people going in search of Percy Fawcett and his son, or what happened to Percy Fawcett and his son. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
That's all I got.
But yeah, Tom Holland, Charlie Hunnam, Sienna Miller, Robert Pattinson are all in it. Looks like it comes to theaters on April 21st.
And we should be getting a real trailer for it. This was just the teaser trailer.
Yeah, I mean, my reaction when I saw the teaser the first time, I think I saw it earlier in the week, and I was like, okay. Like, it definitely wasn't something that particularly intrigued me. Right. But, I'm sure a full trailer will be much more interesting than what that teaser shows.
It doesn't show very much at all. I mean, honestly.
Cool. Well, normally we talk about box office numbers, but we actually don't have any box office numbers to report right now. So I don't know. It's because of the holiday weekend. It doesn't seem to be out. So
maybe that's weird.
There's only Friday estimates at this point.
That's interesting. I thought I saw something about Star Wars, and then number 2 was something else. I could have sworn I saw some numbers out there.
Yeah, I don't know. When I just searched, it looks like there's still only Friday estimates. There's no Saturday or Sunday estimates yet, so no weekend estimates.
Interesting.
So we'll move on to our One Cool Thing segment. For those new to the show, each week we kind of go around the table and talk about one cool thing that we saw in the news this week or that we learned about this week in the world of film and television. And Michelle, we're going to start off with you.
Man.
What's your one cool thing this week?
I mean, it's not like it's anything major, but, I'm always down with reporting some Ryan Gosling news.
How are you now?
I am. I'm down with that.
What's Ryan Gosling up to?
Well, apparently, he's going to be playing Neil Armstrong in an upcoming film with director Damien Chazelle.
Yeah, Chazelle.
I guess he's tackling the storyline for Neil Armstrong, obviously. And, I mean, it's really not like it's a major news, but, it's interesting to me because, one, it's Ryan Gosling.
Two, it's Ryan Gosling.
Two, it's Ryan Gosling. No, but I mean, the director, I think this will be, I'm curious to see a film. Oh no, I'm curious to see more from this director.
I mean, yeah, for those who don't know, this is directed Whiplash, directed La La Land. It's definitely a departure for him so far. He's only done 2 films so far, but they've both been very musical films. So this is definitely not of that vein. Doesn't seem to be so far, so.
I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's an interesting director for a film like this.
Right.
Of a biopic, really. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of, interesting.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I got.
I guess Clint Eastwood was attached to this at some point, it sounds like.
Yeah.
What was that, Bobby?
No, I was just going to say it will be different for him because, like you said, the last 2 movies he put out were musical. And as we all know, in space, no one can hear you sing.
Ooh, look at you.
But in film,
And if only had that ready to go.
Dang. Bobby was cooking that up. He was holding it. He was so giddy. I guarantee you, he was just like,
I literally only just thought of it when David mentioned the fact that he had 2 musicals prior. I was like, ooh, there's something there.
Man.
Nice.
Good job.
That was
Bobby.
well done.
That was well done.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. Yasha, what's your one cool thing this week?
Well, we talked about it earlier today, and I'm going to run with that. And I'm going to actually go with, is it a cool thing? Because
there's a premise.
I feel like it's not really a cool thing. It's more of kind of like, all right, Kevin Costner, that's cool. He's planning a epic Western for about, as quote unquote, as it says here, I have one, Costner says, of doing another Western. I've been working on it. It's about 10 hours long now. How about that? How about that, Kevin? Why are we doing a 10-hour fucking long Western? Is this a miniseries? Are you trying to make a movie? Or are you trying to just bore people into Armageddon and show how awesome you are? Or try and show how awesome you are with all the landscape scenes and show that you can find beautiful places in America or all over the country to see. I don't know. I've just read a little bit about this now, and it just sounds like he's planning another Western, and it sounds like it's going to be needlessly long with really long shots, and I don't understand why he's doing that. Yeah. But hey, I like Kevin Costner. Will I watch this? Probably fucking not if it's 10 hours long, because
who has that time? Oh, Jesus.
Who has that time?
Like, how many intermissions are they going to put in this? 3? Like,
yeah, exactly. What the hell are you doing, dude?
You have to feed yourself and do bodily functions in a 10
It's like watching.
time frame.
To me, it's like you're absolutely right, Michelle. It's like watching the assassination of Jesse James by the Howard Robert Ford. God. Like, that title alone was needlessly long, and I mean, I loved that movie. I thought it was really good. For those that haven't seen it, you should see it. It's a really fantastic Western. It's absolutely beautiful. Almost every single frame could be taken away and made as a poster or a picture on the wall. But it's needlessly long and dreadfully slow. but the performances in it are really, really good. Is that what he's going to do with this? Like make a 10-hour biopic on something that nobody cares about or wants to see? I don't know what he's going for with this, but sweet Jesus, that sounds long and boring. And I don't know if Westerns are that strong of a genre anymore. You know, I mean, they want something to happen in them, not just watching Kevin Costner walk around talking about, well, it's winter's coming again. We got to go out there and go figure it out. You know, something to that effect. I don't.
We got to dig that well this weekend.
Yeah. Did you dig the well? Damn it, Timmy. I told you we needed to dig the well. You know, it's like, I don't know why he thinks that this is a selling point or this is going to be good. I think this would be a much better play. Michelle, you called it, saying like doing a marathon. What is it? Not a marathon. Miniseries. Thank you. A miniseries, just like take on during the summer when, you know, a lot of shows take the time off. Throw it on TNT. Throw it on something. Just be like, hey, got this miniseries coming out. It's 10 hours long and it's going to go for 10 weeks over the summer, or, you know, just after end of winter, the winter shows before they come back. I don't know, but for God's sakes, man, 10 hours long.
Yeah,
what?
That's a bit much. I feel like Kevin Costner's directing skills peaked at Dances with Wolves, and then the other stuff was just not necessary. But yeah.
I do see some information that might shed a little bit more light on it.
No, we don't need that. We don't need that. I'm just kidding. Go for it,
listening. It says that maybe he'll make 3 features out of it, or a 4th one, or he might do it on TV. And,
well, you know, I read that too, and I was reading that as well. But it's still like, I don't know. That still sounds long. So I'm hoping that he does it for TV. Like if he does it for TV, then, you know, that might be kind of cool.
Well, and he does kind of shed a little light onto why he wants to do it, because in a quote he says, it comes in the language. Costner admits of his love for the genre. Everyone's looking for the shootout in a Western, but the strength of them is what gets said leading up to things. This is an oddity about how people talk, yet it's our Shakespeare, the American West. So it sounds like he wants to make something that has that flavor of what the Old West was like in terms of that the way they talk to each other and just everything that goes right before that big showdown that you know, out in the middle of the town before they draw on each other. Just that vernacular. And I would say that the precedence for it in terms of how I could see it possibly working would be like if they did it in the same vein of what they had on HBO, which was well, I guess in contemporary terms you might say Westworld, but if you're thinking about like the older one, it was the one with Timothy Olyphant and Ian McShane.
Like Justified?
Can't think of the name of it. What's that?
Was it Justified or something like that? Or?
Yeah, no, not Justified. It was on HBO.
Oh, sorry.
And it was a Western as well. And so I could see it doing in that vein if he does it for TV, because then that way he really can get into, I guess, that sort of vernacular of the way they talk, as opposed to if you tried to do that in a movie form, I think people would be bored and it just wouldn't lend itself to something people would want to see in terms of being dialogue heavy in that sense, unless there's some action to it that I think would maybe make people want to watch something like that. But yeah, I gotta say I am curious, because like Yasha did say, it's not like Westerns are the prevailing thing these days to where people are just flocking to the theaters to go see it. So the whole conceit of it, to me, is risky just because of that. And so you would think it would be something that would maybe lend itself to a long form series, 10 episodes or whatever the case may be, to a HBO or Netflix. And Deadwood, that's the show I was thinking of. That was on HBO. It was a Western. So yeah, then that worked well for HBO. So I can see him doing something like that. But as far as the movies, yeah, that's risky. That's pretty risky.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bobby, what is your one cool thing this week?
My one cool thing happens to be that we have confirmation that Doctor Strange will in fact be in Thor Ragnarok. And it's to no big surprise per se, but it's nice to know that that is the case. They don't say how long of a role or how much time he'll be spending within the film, but my imagination leads me to believe that it would be something to where in the beginning of the Thor Ragnarok film, Doctor Strange helps Thor locate Odin, who's been missing, and then from there maybe transports them somewhere else, and then that's pretty much the extent of how much he would be in it. But nevertheless, it's pretty cool. I mean, to have a new character, and since that film comes out in November, that'd be the second year in a row we get something of Doctor Strange in the month of November. So maybe that'll be Doctor Strange month from now on. When they release Doctor Strange 2, it'll come out in November, because it seemed to do pretty damn well in November. And then 3 weeks later, this year we have Justice League come out after Thor Ragnarok. So that should be a pretty big month for this year. And I think that will absolutely be a cool thing to see, is Doctor Strange mixing it up with Thor and the Incredible Hulk, or hopefully we get to see them all together.
Speaking of which, we should probably be getting a trailer in the next couple of months, don't you think?
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, I mean,
it's right around the corner now. I mean, it's getting there. Well, not super right around the corner, but it is close.
If we already had footage of Justice League and that comes out in the same month, I can't see why we shouldn't have Thor Ragnarok footage. I guess maybe only thing was that at the time when we saw it at Comic-Con, there hadn't been much filming going on, I think, because I don't recall seeing actual footage. Did we see actual footage? I don't think we did.
I think it was all like they had put together a piece using like whatchamacallit? What's the word?
Green screen?
No, concept art. Sorry.
Yeah.
They kind of put together this montage thing with concept art for the Hall H crowd, but that's really, I think, all we got.
Yeah. In some on set, like you see Thor on set, like with the green screen in the background kind of thing.
Yeah, we did see some of that. That's right.
Yeah, it was really quick. But yeah, so I would assume maybe we should get something soon, within the new year. It'd be nice if it was maybe something attached to Logan.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Cool. I guess it's my turn. So my one cool thing this week, it's not so much news of something definitely happening, but more like the possibility of something happening, which I think is kind of cool. Gareth Edwards, the director of Rogue One, recently did an interview with the website Little White Lies, and in it he talked about the fact that early on at Lucasfilm in San Francisco, he saw what had just been completed, a 4K restoration print of A New Hope. So apparently they have made a 4K restoration of that film. Now, that's really all we know, but is it something that's just going to be used internally at Lucasfilm for reference? Is it something that actually will probably get released to the public at some point? And then if it does, is it going to be a 4K restoration of the, quote unquote new and improved special edition version of that film, or the original cut? There's a lot of questions surrounding this, but I mean, at this point, we know that they did a 4K restoration. They apparently had just finished it when he saw it. So I don't know. I find that kind of intriguing. Yeah, I don't know. Be curious to see if we ever get to see it out in public, because there's a lot of
that would be amazing.
There's other hurdles to get around too, because it's my understanding that 20th Century Fox has distribution rights on A New Hope in forever. Mm-hmm. So anything that would happen would have to be a team up between Disney, Lucasfilm, and 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, that would be an interesting day in hell, but sure.
No, well, see, to me, that means I feel like it would happen, because 20th Century Fox would be like, hey, that's more cash for us in a way that we can't get to anymore through the distribution of the films. So if we can at least get this, then that's more money in our pockets for really doing nothing. because Disney would be the ones, leading the charge on turn and basically doing the restoration and doing everything. They're doing all the work, and 20th Century Fox just has to sit back and cash the check.
Yeah, pretty much.
I couldn't imagine them not to do it.
Well, hope so. But anyway,
It'd be cool.
I thought that was interesting. It sounds like they've worked on that. I'm guessing if they worked on that, they're probably doing the same thing for Empire and Return of the Jedi. I don't know.
Well, I will make a sort of a footnote to that. Cool. I think it would be cool if we get that and it's the original version.
Oh, absolutely.
Special. So.
I know. I think with our group, that's pretty.
Yeah, definitely.
We all agree on that.
Yeah.
I've always been interested to see that cut that's out there on the internet. I forget what it's called, that people have put together basically of that original cut. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about, Bobby?
Yes, I do.
I forget. It's got a particular name to it. I mean, like a group of people on the internet have basically taken the absolute best footage of the original cut and made a digital version of it. That you could, I think, download. Of course, this is all, I guess, very illegal. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Highly.
So.
Very much so. But yeah, I've always meant to, try to check it out if I got the chance. I never have. But.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my one cool thing this week.
Cool.
I guess that does it for the podcast this week. What's up, Michelle?
What's next week?
What's next week? Next week,
Dun, dun, dun.
we finally get to do our top 10 show. Yay! Top 10 Films 2016 will be our next episode, so please look out for that. I'm very excited to binge watch a bunch of movies this week and get ready for it and see how many of them actually show up on my list. I know, Bobby, you have already started a list, haven't you?
Yeah, I started mine about 3 weeks ago.
That's what I thought.
And
Yeah.
Man, I feel like the worst
Jesus,
slacker
Bobby.
right now.
I feel like the biggest slacker. Like, I'm gonna start, I don't know, Friday.
Yeah, right?
Well, and I explained to David the reason why it was a little bit easier for me was because I'd seen the movies as they were coming out.
Right,
So pretty much
true.
I kind of had a similar or a specific idea of at least 10 to 15 movies that I could use. And I just was holding out on some of the ones that hadn't been released in December yet that I
Right.
hadn't seen to slot into possible slots into my list. So it was pretty well formed already, but now it's just like, okay, putting the final pieces in place and then getting the order right.
Right. But yeah, look out for that. That'll be our next episode. I'm looking forward to do that list. As always, we'd love to hear back from anyone listening. You can email us at feedback@flickereffect.com. You can also comment on our YouTube page. I mentioned that earlier, youtube.com/flickereffect. And you can also find links to our other social media accounts on our website. Just go to flickereffect.com. Look over on the right-hand side. I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
Nah, Michelle Curry.
Thanks for listening.